The latest Russian offensive using waves of Shade drones comes as the front line has been largely stalemate, despite creeping advances by Russian units around the eastern city of Bakhmut. Ukraine's military says Russian troops launched an offensive in and around the town, which they tried to surround, but without success. 11 of the 16 Iranian-made drones were shot down, including the 3 that headed for targets in Kiev. Russia regularly pounded Ukraine with missiles, artillery, and drones. The Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, reported on March 18 that its special force, White Wolves, had destroyed 10 Russian tanks and an armored personnel carrier towards Russian-occupied Donetsk. Thus, 11 targets were destroyed overnight, the SBU said. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported that 880 Russian soldiers had died in Ukraine in the last 24 hours, bringing the total number of victims to 164,200. According to the report, Russia has also lost 3,511 tanks since the start of the full-scale invasion on February 24 last year. Russian troops concentrated their efforts on carrying out attacks against Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, Mariinka, and Shakhtarsk in Donetsk Oblast. Meanwhile, Ukrainian rocket and artillery forces hit 2 makeshift bases and a Russian air defense system position. The Russian army has also launched 34 airstrikes and 57 MLRS strikes against Ukraine over the last few days. On March 16, Ukrainian forces killed 225 invaders near Bakhmut and injured 306, while Russians shelled Ukrainian positions 256 times. Most recently, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants on Friday for Russian President Vladimir Putin and other Russian officials over the alleged deportation of Ukrainian children from Ukraine, amid an investigation by the organization and claims by world leaders, including the US, that Russia has committed war crimes and crimes against humanity during the invasion of Ukraine. Meanwhile, the 44th Separate Artillery Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine destroyed the Russian invaders' BM-21 Grad rocket salvo fire system in one of the forest paths in the Zaporizhzhia direction. People's Deputy and volunteer Yuri Misygin announced this on his social network Twitter. In one night, snipers from the Special Operations Center A of the Security Service of Ukraine destroyed 40 Russian invaders and injured 14 others. In fact, 2 platoons were neutralized. Sergei Pritula reported on this on his Telegram channel. We put their working hours in a short digest. The published video plot consists of dozens of precise shots taken via a thermal imager and night vision sight from a sniper rifle. On the other hand, Russia's Wagner mercenary group plans to recruit around 30,000 new fighters by mid-May, Yevgeny Prigozhin said on Saturday. He said in an audio message on Telegram that Wagner recruiting centers, which he said last week had opened in 42 Russian cities, employed an average of 500 to 800 people per day, according to a Reuters report. Wagner's group suffered heavy losses while leading Russian efforts to capture the Ukrainian city of Bakhmut, which it has held since last summer in the longest and bloodiest fighting of the year-long war. In January, the United States assessed that Wagner had about 50,000 fighters in Ukraine, including 40,000 inmates Prigozhin had recruited from Russian prisons with promises of free pardons if they lasted 6 months. Ukrainian officials claim that around 30,000 Wagner fighters have deserted or been killed or wounded, a figure that cannot be independently verified. At around 21 o'clock on March 17, 2023, the Russian occupiers attacked Ukraine with an Iranian-made Shade 136 131st kamikaze attack drone, the Ukrainian Air Force said in a statement on Telegram. He added that 11 of the 16 drones were destroyed. According to the Air Force, the strikes were launched from the Sea of Azov and from Russia's Bryansk region, which borders Ukraine. Meanwhile, Fighters Detachment White Wolves of the Special Operations Center A of the Security Service of Ukraine destroyed 10 tanks, tank companies, and one armored personnel carrier of the Russian invaders in one night in the Donetsk direction. The operator of this unmanned aerial vehicle accurately drops anti-tank cumulative grenades on enemy equipment. Over the past few days, the front line in Bakhmut has not changed, according to domestic military analysts and the authoritative compiler of the frontline map, Deep State. Significantly north of the city, the enemy was advancing on Kryharivka, but this did not affect the situation at Bakhmut. Meanwhile, the Telegram channel Operative ZSU showed a video taken from the monitor of the anti-tank missile complex Stugna P, in which fighters of the 93rd Separate Mechanized Brigade Kholodny Yar of the Armed Forces of Ukraine destroy an enemy BMP. In turn, a soldier of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, who was fighting in Bakhmut, pushed back the occupiers' positions north of the city and counterattacked in the center. It is possible to reclaim previously lost positions in a zone. Russia may introduce wider conscription to increase its military needs, the UK Ministry of Defence has said. In its latest intelligence update, the ministry said deputies in the Russian Duma on Monday introduced a law to change the conscription age for men to 21 to 30, from the current 18 to 27. The law is likely to be passed, he said, and take effect in January 2024. Russia has launched nearly 100 missiles of various types over the past few days, the Ukrainian military said Friday. Much attention has been focused on the multiple launches of the Kinzhal airborne ballistic missile, which were extremely difficult to stop. Ukrainian officials admit their defense systems are not good enough. The use of hypersonic missiles in particular follows years of the Kremlin's push to equip its military with such weaponry, a move the United States and the West have been less than enthusiastic about, given the trade-off in pursuing hypersonic capabilities. Although Russia has deployed several missiles that are currently unstoppable by Ukraine, it is unlikely that such attacks will become a regular or defining feature of the conflict. Because by most Western judgments, Russia is out of supply.